Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of The Societies. A few notes before we begin. First, if you've not listened to episode 1, definitely go do that now. Second, the visuals in these episodes will be much simpler as we transition more into the story, as they're meant to introduce us to the world and will be less elaborate from here on out. And third, if you would rather listen to The Societies on a podcast platform, check the link in the description to do so. Now, we return to the adventures of Dr. Chip Whittelsly PHD, Clara Barnsworth, and Herbert Lister as they are properly introduced to the owner of Mystic Manor, Lord Henry Mystic.
What game were you playing here? The doors, that was something else, but I'm sure there was some machinery back there that was doing that. But what is this?
I just told you. This is Mystic Manor.
I don't know about that, but I feel like I trust the monkey.
Am I allowed to use the basic knowledge of the world that you established with us?
I mean, you could talk about how, like, magic isn't a thing.
And it's like a taboo legend that no one's allowed to talk about, right? Clara, I don't know, like, there have been long talks about magic. This is magic, guys. This is real magic we're seeing here. I can't believe it.
You started it.
You started it with your cooking.
My cooking is not magic. Far from it.
If you think this is magic, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. I know what this is. This is some sort of fun house. This is all a weird game.
I don't know about magic, but if the monkey's friends with him, I can trust this man.
You don't understand, guys.
How about I explain? This is Mystic Manor. For years, I perfected the art of mysticism and magic by myself, with a small group of apprentices and mentors. I have learned the trade. I have studied through these books. I have been looking and learning and investigating the magical arts for quite some time, along with my sidekick, Albert here. This house is alive. When a magic user opens that box, it creates a chain reaction that sets every magical item I have collected in this house to life. That man right there did that. That man has the ability to project magic.
Me?
Yes, you.
Good going, Chip.
You might not believe it, but I am not interested in proving any sort of existence, because we're not allowed to talk about it, let alone practice it, like the doctor here just did.
I'm really confused.
Sounds like he's been sniffing your oils.
Let me make it very clear. Magic exists. The legends are true. The legends don't do justice to the magic and mysticism out there in this world, although the world that we are currently in lacks most of it.
What do you mean the world we're currently in?
He continues to rifle through papers.
What does he mean the world we're currently in?
I think he's talking about Central Florida.
What year is it?
2019.
What year is it for you, buddy?
Well, I'm at the young age of 89 years old.
Ooh.
I have been living in this house, in this part of the country, in this era, for 10 years. I have not ventured outside after my first day here. Let me explain something to you, and maybe this will help with your lack of belief in mysticism.
And with that, he throws some sort of powder into the air that he grabbed from his shirt. And this powder creates a projection of what the world used to be like, essentially. It's the same kind of technology. It's the same old world, but you see this projection of beasts that you've only heard in mythology, and you see people practicing magic. And this is not Harry Potter style, like wand and wizard magic. This is object magic. This is people finding certain spells that only exist within certain objects and ways to capture energy. And he starts to explain the history of magic to you. And this takes about 3 minutes. But the gist is that magic exists. It existed for a while. And for some reason, it is now outlawed. Legend doesn't exist anymore. That part he doesn't explain. And so as he finishes up, he says,
"Do you believe me now that there is magic?"
And all of you, unless you really want to not believe, and you can roll for it, would be convinced after this speech.
Yeah, the powder convinced me.
No, the powder and the clothes swayed me.
I just can't stop looking at my fingers. My magic fingers.
That's where the magic comes from, yeah. I mean, I believe in magic. I don't necessarily believe that Chip has magic.
I do not believe that tonight was a chance encounter. You flew a plane into the ground, and the only house that you could find in the pouring rain is mine? You're the first travelers to come here in 10 years I have existed in this era. That is no coincidence. And not only that, you bring someone who does not just have the ability to use magic, but believes in it too. Who is able to utilize that magic to open the music box, who is able to make this house come alive for the first time in over a decade. I do not believe that this is a coincidence. I am not one to believe in coincidences.
Question. Is there more magic stuff in this place that I can touch?
Touch any object.
I'm just going to hold on. I'm going to hold tight on touching objects. I just want to make sure that I'm not just, if I touch some random stuff, magic's going to start happening. I'm going to keep my hands to myself.
No, you do not have the ability to channel magic. Not every item is going to respond to you. You must be trained to do that. It is something you will need to learn.
Roger that.
You've just been living here alone, what, waiting for the right magic person to swing around?
Admittedly, no. I did not know this was a possibility. I have been living day after day. The weeks have faded together. My old soul and the lack of magic light I have in my eyes has made the time pass quite significantly. The fact that it's 2019 is quite troubling to me. I can tell you the story of how I got here, but I do not want any objections to the authenticity of said story.
Fine, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw a house come to
Yeah,
life,
I-
so, you know.
Again, my name is Lord Henry Mystic. I am notably a member of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. You might not know this name, but this society was popular to anyone keeping up with the current events of the late 19th and early 20th century. The last year I spent in my primary era was 1909, exactly 110 years ago. I was in Mystic Manor after just dispounding a rowdy meeting with the other members of the society. I was sitting there when a flash of light shone within the house, which is surprising considering that I did not do that, and Albert was asleep, so it couldn't be him. The light spilled into the room. My eyes were immediately filled with this bright, shining, spiraling orb, and from it came a single letter before the orb disappeared. This letter sent me here today, although this was more or less a mistake. Would you like me to read you the letter?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, now you have to.
Yeah.
I will give you as much context I had to this letter before I read it as I did before reading it.
He kind of looks at himself as he's not sure if he said that correctly.
I will give you as much context as I had before reading it. The letter was sent from someone, or something, called the Timekeeper. It reads as follows. Lord Mystic, I am writing to you from
Year
the year
2055. I'm currently sitting in a small barn outside of Paris, France, hoping that my joints will not freeze on this frigid winter night. But what do you care? You don't even know who I am. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is the Timekeeper. My father describes me as a one-of-a-kind mechanical robot powered by artificial intelligence, although I prefer program personality. You might not know this yet, but my very existence at this point in this time is illegal, as are all new inventions and innovations. Something very peculiar is about to occur in your world that is going to lead to the reality in which I live. My existence has been hidden from the world by my father, and I've always been taught to hide any creations of my own. I understand that it was not always this way, and that at one time imagination was encouraged, and the wonders of the world had been explored. Over the past 3 days, I've been undergoing my annual ingest, in which my father gives me books and papers to read through and absorb. I found a series of misplaced letters between you and a Mr. Blarian Mercurial, discussing his potential inclusion in something called the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. This is how I came across your address and residency at Mystic Manor in the year 1909. I assume that your society would be greatly interested in the transition the world is about to undertake. Unfortunately, I do not know the exact cause or reason that we have been brought into this dark future, but I do have some good news. I developed a machine that is capable of traveling through time and space. Sadly, the resulting vortex, or more accurately, fireworks show that the machine creates would almost certainly cause suspicion if an object of considerable size were sent through it. This is the reason I am delivering this letter to you, instead of explaining it to you myself. However, I do have an idea about how we may communicate. Simply bury your letter deep in the ground at the coordinate 48.672 degrees north and 2.7838 degrees east, and I will go and dig them up after sending this message. I hope this letter finds you well, and that together we may avoid the future as I am experiencing it. The Timekeeper, founding member of the Society of Explorers and Innovators.
Yo, you guys know those tingles you get when you get your hair cut? I just got those tingles all through me. That was intense. I don't know what is going on. Wow.
Essentially, progress has stopped. For the past 100 years, there have been no inventions, innovations, medical breakthroughs, no scientific breakthroughs, no technological breakthroughs. The world has stopped, and it's because of a single event that even I am uncertain. I did not live to see it, but I did as the Timekeeper, as he or it calls himself, asked, and I traveled to Europe. Outside of Paris, I found the coordinates and buried the letter. Expecting to hear back immediately, I did not hear back. I began to become concerned with the status of the Timekeeper. I am worried that he was caught in this dystopian future he described. I decided that I would travel there myself. The way in which I decided to do this was the only way I knew how. An ancient spell cast here on Mystic Manor. The only object I knew that had the power and size to travel into the time plane. I traveled into this plane in which you can travel ahead in time, or behind, depending on the direction you choose. I saw Earth turn many, many times before having to land the house due to the gatekeeper of the time plane attacking me. That is what led me here today. Ever since, I have been afraid to travel through time, as I do not believe my aging health and my now lack of magic can defeat the gatekeeper. And it certainly will not do any good, as I do not have a destination to travel to.
As he understands all this, and he's recounting, he's kind of remembering how lost he is and how basically, for lack of a better word, how screwed he is.
You're saying that you made your entire house travel through time?
Yes, when I got up into the time plane, a mythical Griffin attacked me. It is the apparent gatekeeper of the place. I have only read about it in books. It was sent there by sorcerers many moons ago to protect the plane from people like me. Attacked the house, and I was forced to land 40 years too soon.
For some reason, I can buy the time travel, but a Griffin is protecting the travel of time?
Yes.
So what do we have to do with all of this?
Those two, I'm not sure, but you're a magic user. You have brought light to this house, something I have not been able to do for 10 years. You brought light to me. I have new confidence in my mysticism. I believe that you and I, if we were to travel, could potentially either find the Timekeeper or, if you were to go back, find the point in time when things changed. I assume somewhere closer to the 1920s.
Oh, hold on. I mean, we're still here too. I think we could. This sounds like a pretty big deal. If we pull this off, it sounds like it'd be a really big deal. So don't kind of count us out immediately. I want to walk over towards Chip and just sort of stand near him as if I'm just like grouped with him.
Yeah, me too.
So, I'm in. What do we do?
I don't knock the ethics of signing you up for such a grueling and painful quest to stop the future you have been living in. I do not know what the repercussions would be for you in your future. If you enjoy your lives as is now, I would advise against going on this quest, but I will not stop those who choose. Everything you know will be different. Progress will be back, and progress brings change.
Everything could be better. I think we should.
Everything should be better.
That I could be a part of something big. I'm there.
So, you are certain you want to try this?
I'm there. I want to do it.
In that case, there is no time to waste. Here are my thoughts.
And then as he says that, he throws down the powder, and it lights up on the floor like dust, and the house kind of stands a little bit more upright, and things come together, and it starts to rumble. And he says,
Doctor, come here. Hold my hand.
and so he's like closing his eyes, ushering you over.
I guess I take his hand, but I keep my eyes open and stare at Clara and Herb.
And so he grabs your hand, and you fly up. the house is shaking. It's like a rocket ship, and it's slowly moving to the sky, and the house begins to spin also. And so things and everyone needs to roll a agility check.
8.
2.
1.
So you fly across the house. You fly into that hallway and slam into the door, and the door opens. You are able to grab one of the knobs, but you're like flying. Herb, you are also thrown down that hallway, although you catch yourself just before you reach the doorway, and you see Clara holding on for dear life as it's spinning. Dr. Chip, Lord Henry Mystic is able to hold on to you. You can feel your hand flowing energy from your heart into your hand.
This is intense!
What was once a dark night, it's now kind of like you're in the middle of a tornado. It's gray, and instead of rain, it's just wind and clouds, and it's spiraling around. You don't see this, Clara, because you're looking into the house as you're holding onto the knobs. But that's what you see, Herb, as you're watching her almost die. The house is, the door is like flown out, so she's like basically on the porch.
Yeah.
But like
I'm outside.
Okay, and I'm still in the hallway, right?
you just braced yourself, like you like wedged yourself in between the floor and the wall.
Stab my sword into something to leave it there so I could free up some hands.
I am going to reach my hand out and try to grab hold of Herb, who's trying to catch me so I don't fly away and die.
Roll a strength check.
Oh, okay. 8.
You do not, and your hand paws at his hand, and it misses, and you have to grab hold of the knobs again in order to stay on as the house continues to spin.
So I want to reach for my rope, and I want to, holding on to one end, let the other end fly out towards Clara.
Clara, try to catch that.
18.
You get both hands on it, and you are now completely at the will of... Do you want to have both hands on it, or do you want to have just one? I'm going to let you decide.
Like a kite in the wind.
I got a good grip. I got a good grip with one hand, but just in case, I still got that knob in the other one. But I got the rope in one hand, and I've got it good. I wrapped it around me a couple times.
Mystic opens his eyes just at the moment, so he opens his eyes, and the house comes up above the clouds, and you are now above Earth. You're like in space, but there's no really stars, but you're above Earth, if that makes sense. You see the Earth below you spiraling very fast. So it's going reverse. Mystic lets go of your hand, Dr. Chip, and begins to walk towards the hallway. So the house is still, but it's like, you know when you see a footage of the International Space Station looking it across Earth? So it's not dizzying to you. You feel somewhat stable, but you are like steadily moving. The Earth below you is spinning quite rapidly.
We don't have much time before the Griffin.
And then just as he says
Oh,
the
God.
Griffin, you hear a caw, and then you see the wings flap. It snaps its beak at Clara and misses, throws its wings backward and flies a little ways out, and then flies and caws.
Pull me in, pull me in, pull me in, pull me in.
I start pulling at the rope as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah, I run over with my double speed and help start to pull the rope.
I believe in the Griffin. I believe in the Griffin.
You can try to pull her in. Roll a strength check.
I rolled a 5.
I rolled a 10.
Okay, so you don't this time. Lord Mystic kind of walks out, steadies himself as the wind moves, and he goes onto his porch with a weird finger symbol he makes. He kind of can steer the house one way or the other through the wind. And so he's kind of steadying the house.
Meanwhile, I'm outside. It's fine. Don't worry.
Mystic is just really steady and also doesn't really care about Clara at the moment.
Yeah, because I don't have magic. I get it. It's cool.
So the Griffin decides to attack again,
Oh,
and he
no.
goes right after Clara, and so he misses with his chomp and then throws his talons at her and hits. That does 7 damage. One of the talons rips into your leg. You're kind of bleeding a little bit,
I'm
but
down to 13.
Clara had a max hit points of 20, and she just got 7 hit points after being hit. And so that brings it down to 13. So if you hit 0, then fun stuff happens, and we'll get into hopefully never. But maybe now.
The Griffin! We're going to need some help!
Chip, take the rope.
I got it. I remember my weakness is strength, so just want to throw that out there. Can we tie the rope to something? Is there anything to tie the rope to?
Just try to pull me up again, please.
Okay, we're gonna pull at the same time. Ready?
12.
15.
You pull her in, and she goes flying past you and takes you into the house. So you can all 3 stabilize yourself and go where you please now.
Come out here!
I put my rope away and just pull the sword out of the wall that I had stamped it in.
He like peeks his head in through the door and like lights shining into the house, and he yells at Dr. Chip,
Go over to that statue and grab the glove!
I have double speed. I'm over there instantly. I got the glove. I immediately put the glove on without thinking.
Come here! Come here!
Okay, I'm going over there.
Okay, everyone needs to roll an agility check as you walk down this hallway, whoever's going.
17.
15.
11.
And so all three of you are now on the porch, and you're kind of stabilizing yourself like Russell does at the beginning of Up. Lord Mystic waves Dr. Chip over to him.
What kind of glove is this? Is this like a leather glove, metal glove?
It's a leather glove.
We are going to use that to channel 2 spells. The first spell we're going to learn how to use is called Blend. Point your finger at someone and think about the context of the situation you are in, and they will blend into an outfit or getup that would most likely suit the era or situation.
All right, so this is like a spell that changes their clarification, Mr. Mystic.
Lord Mystic.
Lord Mystic, sorry, sir. This is a spell that's gonna like, if they need like to be wearing like a parachute, they get a parachute?
Nope.
Okay, I definitely did not get the context of the spell then.
Okay, let me re-explain. Imagine they are wearing an explorer's cap, but they're supposed to be in the future. Blend will make it look like a hat from the future.
Oh, gotcha.
Only the objects change. You do not get any additional objects.
Like the way you looked old earlier?
Yes, I am using Blend in that instance.
I'm helping to explain to the doctor. He's lost a lot of electrolytes.
Okay, so at this point, the Griffin chooses Herb to throw his beak at, and hits twice. He hits you for 25 health points. So what he did is he bit you, and what you thought you were going to be sucked, like he thought he was going to like throw you, but instead he just pinned you with his talons, and then he flew off of you.
I am down to 5 hit points.
That's why you're an adventurer.
The second spell I'm going to...
Clara, you still got your gun?
I spin around and say, hold on, Mr. Mystic! Clara! And I point at her gun, and I blend it!
Blend my gun?
What if you just turned her gun into a bow and arrow?
You did do that.
Oh, no.
Mr. Mystic told me that it's based on the situation.
I told you it was based off of the context of the era. It's not going to...
Well, the context is we're fighting a time griffin. Blend that gun!
It looks like a crossbow now.
Great.
Ooh.
So it functions the same way, it just looks different.
All right, perhaps I called that one too early. What's the second spell, Mr. Mystic?
The second spell is called Feather. At any point you are descending, you can snap your fingers, or snap your fingers and point at any one of your friends, or whoever these other people are, and make them feather fall. What that will do is slow down their fall enough that they will not die from an impact alone.
Question.
Sure.
Does this only apply to friendlies?
If you would like to slow your enemies, sure. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you can.
I'm just holding my wounds, and I look at Clara, and then I look at the Griffin, and just sort of like nod my head like...
The Griffin comes and attacks its last victim again, Herb, and it throws its beak towards it and chomps and misses, and then throws its talons toward it and also misses, and then flies back again.
Jump now!
Jump
out?
Like jump down?
Every second you waste is another era you fall into. You have to jump now! We've already passed the 20s.
I'm just holding my wounds, and I look at that Griffin, and I jump without hesitation.
I immediately jump.
We jumped.
I'm
We all three
jumping.
jumped.
I will go find the timekeeper. It was nice to meet you. I will see you in another era.
And so he like spins it around, and then like it shoots off in the other direction because of how fast you're moving. You three...
Feather. Boom, boom, boom.
Great. So you weren't near the ground yet, so you're just moving extremely slowly
Great.
into the Earth's atmosphere, and it's hot.
Crap.
You guys want to play 20 questions on the way down, or?
So you three are moving super slowly, and the Earth is still moving, so you're still missing the era.
Oh, great.
So it's moving faster and faster as you slowly descend down. It's slowing its acceleration, falling towards what you can know as the United States of America. Specifically, you are moving towards a a United States of America that is a lot less developed than the one you know. And let's not forget, the one you know is less developed than the one that you actually know. And you can tell this because it's like dusk and there's no really electric lights anywhere. So you missed if you were aiming for 1920, you missed it by a long shot. You were heading towards what would be present day Utah. And as you come towards the ground very slowly, you notice, canyons and desert and really not much, pretty barren landscape. You drop and you hit the ground and you're fine, but you do get dusty. And so you're all dressed in like 1920s wear, and you are clearly in what would be considered the Old West.
Time Griffin, huh, guys? Time Griffin. Who'd have thunk it?
I'm just laying there. I'm very, very hurt and very bloody right now.
Doctor?
I am covered with cuts.
I would like to heal wounds.
You may heal wounds.
I'm a little hurt, but you can do him first.
You can get him up to half of his max with no combat if you roll. So like, because you can heal wounds, you can get him up to half. You can get him up to 15 health points and you don't have to roll for it.
Okay, that's a perfect roll. Great. I would like to do that, please.
Yes. So he's now 15 health points and he's better, not bleeding everywhere anymore. And you three are lost and thirsty in the middle of a desert.
We need electrolytes.
Yeah. So you're kind of in a basin. So there's kind of like mountain structures and you're close to one of them.
Herb, can you walk?
Yeah. No, I've felt like this. I've had better days, but it's nothing too bad.
He's
like
a trooper.
Sunday morning for me.
Do we want to hike up the mountain to get a better view?
Yeah,
what's the light situation? What do we got?
What
going
time
on?
of day is it?
It is dusk.
We should head to higher ground. At least then we could get we're going to need shelter soon, but at least, we get to higher ground. We could figure out where we need to go.
That's a perfect idea. I'm going to double speed up to the top of the mountain as fast as I can with as much light as possible.
You do get onto the top of that hill after about 10 minutes of walking. And over the top, you can see a small settlement of people. There's also, you notice, train tracks that kind of lead up to the settlement and go off through part of that crater that you just dug over. That train goes somewhere you can't see, but ends actually like within the middle of the settlement.
Before we take another step, Doctor, I think you should do the first thing, the first one. We need new duds.
Herb, that's a great idea. New duds. I'm going to blend y'all. I'm going to do some magic. I'm going to point your shoes. I'm going to work my way up. Blend, 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 blend. Blend, 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 blend. I can blend myself,
This
right?
is how magic sounds.
Right? Can I blend myself with my clothes on?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to blend myself. Blend, blend, blend,
Do
blend.
I need to get naked to blend myself?
Well, I'm just saying, do I have to have the objects away from me, or can I close range blend?
This is the only way I can do this, everybody.
I swear.
He says as he slowly unzips.
I'm not saying you should watch. I'm just saying it's going to be a show. So you are now all in old Western clothes, and your gun, Clara, is now a pistol.
It's a revolver now.
It was a pistol, but now it's a revolver. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Your sword is a sword, and everything else is basically the same. But you got some cool hats out of it.
Yeah.
And so you're all kind of dressed in Western wear.
Well, let's head into town. I'm still feeling a little under the weather, so if we could get some, I don't know, food or anything, that would be really great.
So you walk down this basin, and you kind of come into the town, and you see like a trap. So you're about probably half a mile from actually reaching it, because this is a large plain, and you see like a guy on a horse coming from behind a different direction than you. Roll up to you and says,
Boy, howdy. Y'all be some weary travelers.
We certainly are.
Our horses died a couple miles back. We had to walk in.
Jesus!
It's the equivalent of crashing a plane. I get it.
We're just you guys got a saloon in town?
Well, you're in luck. Big Thunder Mesa's got just about anything you could ask for. Come follow me. I'll take you into town.